Hello, and welcome to another edition of QI, otherwise known as the British Space Between the Ears programme. And boldly going nowhere with me tonight are Jeremy Clarkson, Alexander Armstrong, John Sessions, and Alan Davis. So tonight we have 3 astronauts and 1 astro minus 25. The things I do with words. Tonight's buzzer noises all have some relevance to the questions that will be coming up this evening. Jeremy goes... Alexander goes... Oh! John goes... Fruity, fruity, fruity. Fruity, fruity, fruity. And Alan goes... This week we have something rather exciting going on, and that is, as you guessed, are more grown up than usual. We're going to do something very daring, and we're going to treat you like adults, and we're going to ask you to keep your own scores. So, I have absolute... You see, I told the producer there would be a flaw in this system. And you see, what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to subtract the amount you lie by, because we're also going to have an electronic check. But if you're very accurate, I will give an extra 100 points to anyone who's bang on their own score. I like Stephen. It's like having your own little performing donkeys, you see. Now, I have absolute faith in your honesty, gentlemen, but by coincidence, the first question does happen to be about cheating. The 1904 Olympic Games were held in St. Louis, Missouri, and they were notable for a number of bizarre events, including something called Anthropology Days, where so-called uncivilized tribes, such as Pygmies and Sioux Indians, held mud fights and tug-of-wars against each other in tribal costume. The marathon, however, which featured the first Africans ever to compete in the Olympics, was equally remarkable. 2 of the first 4 men to cross the line were disqualified because they'd been poisoned. And the winner himself was disqualified, but I want to know why the winner was disqualified. Fruity, fruity, fruity.
In a moment of inadvisable candour, he said, "I'm afraid I poisoned the other 2 contestants."
It's a good answer.
What sort of poison was it that made them run 26 miles and nearly win?
You mean they did it to themselves? There was performance-enhancing poison?
Well, that's really very intelligent, because they did. Their trainers gave them, and they gave themselves strychnine, which was commonly used as a rat poison and is very poisonous. It was quite legal to do so. It enhanced performance.
Well, it kills you.
Non-fatal doses won't kill you.
I ran a marathon the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I didn't run it, I drove it. I did race against a marathon runner from Greenwich on the London Marathon course to the Mall in normal London traffic, and he was faster by 8 minutes.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that great?
And, amazingly, gestures towards the answer.
He had a car?
Yes! The winner, Fred Lotz, went most of the way by car. He was given a laurel by Alice Roosevelt, the daughter of President Theodore. And then
was he in the car on the podium?
He wasn't actually. No, the car ran out of petrol. He ran the last 11 miles or so.
He couldn't go on the course. He must have had to go quite round.
Yeah, they'd have seen him.
You'd have seen him if he were on the course.
You'd think, but you'd see him running.
Here they come.
fourth place was awarded to a Cuban postman called Felix Carvajal, who rather sweetly...
Delivered the post on the way around. I have a letter for you.
That's so like...
From Cuba.
It's so like your famous Mexican accent, but yeah, he had to run in street clothes, which he snipped around the legs to make them look like shorts. And then he stopped off in an orchard to have a snack on some apples, and they poisoned him, and...
The strychnine didn't kill the winner, but the apples nearly killed the bloke that...
Yeah, they were rotten, so he had to lie down and have a nap. But he still came fourth. The athlete who came ninth was called Len Tao, and he was a Tswana tribesman, the first African ever to run in the Olympics. And he had to run more than a kilometre out of his way because he was being chased by a dog. In the 1904 Olympics, the same games, there was a fellow called George Isa who won 6 medals in gymnastics. And he had a handicap. Can you imagine what that was?
Blind.
No.
Deaf.
No.
Mad.
Man. 1 foot, 2 left feet, 1 leg.
1 wooden leg.
He had a wooden leg.
He had a wooden leg and he won 6 gold medals.
Maybe he could do brilliant stuff, spinning on it.
Yes. Freestyle hopping.
Take it off, put it on his head.
Yeah.
Wheels on it, little wheels.
In 1900, there was a sport where Great Britain won a gold medal, in which the only other country competed was France. Can you imagine what that might have been?
Arrogance?
Cricket? Cricket. Cricket. Yeah. We played France at cricket and beat them.
We whipped them.
No, the French team was actually British embassy officials from Paris. That's a way to run the Olympics.
They don't have a French team now, do they?
I think the embassy's still got a team. Put a team
Oh,
out
the
on
embassy
Sunday.
will have. And they do a marvellous Pirates of Penzance every other year. But 1904 Tour de France, interestingly. Now, what do we know about the Tour de France? A lot of cheating there.
Cycling.
Yes. Good. Award yourself a point, I think. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There were some night races, and there were some riders discovered biting cork, on the end of which was a wire, on the other end of which was a car. They were being towed by their teeth. Yeah. The winner...
Tie it on the handlebar, you idiot.
You'd think, but I suppose they could, I don't know, they could, if they were found, they could let go quickly.
Let go. Yeah.
Maurice Garin was the first man to cross the finishing line, but he was disqualified when it was discovered that he had gone part of the way by train. His main rival fell from his bicycle fast asleep because he'd been given chicken with sleeping pills in it. And there were other nobblings. Yeah, there were other... Laxative in water bottle was a very common one. Itching powder in jumpers and sandpaper in the jockstrap.
Oh! Yeah.
Do you know what's funny?
You noticed that when you pulled it on, though.
Anyway, there we are. Stop me when you've guessed what I am now listing. Challenger. Tornado.
Tanks.
Oh, tanks.
Jet fighters. Biscuits, types of biscuits. Dragonflies, butterflies.
Shall I carry on with the
Birds.
list? Yeah. Typhoon. Mustang.
Weather conditions.
Tennis balls.
No, but good.
Cars.
Laser. Getting good. Marauder.
Boats.
No.
But they
Hurricane.
all are boats.
StarQuest.
Yeah, all
Apache,
boats. Still boats.
Buccaneer.
Boats.
Jetstream. And
Jetstream.
Superstorm.
Are they air currents?
Hovercraft.
I was in one the other day that was actually a Cobra.
A helicopter.
Oh, hello. Who said helicopter?
That was him. Ferries.
No, you've got
Car ferries.
big ones that you live in.
You live in?
Barges.
Caravans, ladies and gentlemen. They are all makes of caravan.
You know that?
Can't say that word. Take it away.
But Jeremy, I've got so much to talk to you about.
No, I'm not listening.
La, 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 la. You've destroyed a few in your time, though.
Yeah,
You've done a service, haven't you?
We played conkers with them not that long ago.
I saw it. Now, the world record speed for towing a caravan is...
140-something miles an hour.
Oh, he's good, isn't he?
Well, they tried to beat it.
140 139.113. Very good indeed.
Bloody
No,
Very
wrong.
good.
This is as good as a mile.
Now, so, that was fun, actually. Let's try it again with something else. Fingers on buzzers again. Go on, then.
Right.
What am I listing now? Patriot, stroke patriot, gladiator, yes?
Missiles.
Oh, dear. Best to wait. Scalloped, yep.
Really big, dodgy, gay condoms.
Oh, yeah, they could be that, actually. That's a very good name. Why not? I'll keep going, though. Dagger, javelin, merlin, archer, arrow.
Tory party summer balls for the last 10 years.
Apples.
You're in the right area now. You're not animal.
Pears.
Well,
Plum.
it's not a fruit, though.
Apricot.
Tomato. Garnishes.
Oh, now that's close.
Potato.
They were used as potatoes in Britain before potatoes were discovered, if you know what I mean. They were
Turnips,
matched.
Swedes.
Oh, you're so in the right family
Parsnips.
now. Parsnips is the right answer. There you go.
Got some points.
How many do I get?
Well done. I don't know how many you think you deserve, old thing. But which parsnip wrote a great novel of the 20th century? Probably the best-known Russian novel of the 20th century.
Is it Pasternak? Boris Pasternak?
Pasternak, which
Yeah.
is the Russian for...
Parsnip.
Exactly. Boris Parsnip wrote Dr. Zhivago. So there you are, parsnips. What else can we say about them?
Sometimes when you're a kid, you think they're chips, and you plunge in,
Oh,
and they're not chips.
that is a disappointment to a girl.
But I'm the only person here that grows their own parsnips.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is that a euphemism?
They say he grows his own parsnips.
When I say I grow them, they
Your
are
man.
grown on a piece of soil near where I live.
And Jess Hardacre, your
a man
gardener,
comes and
he
leaves
comes.
with a shovel.
Mr. Clarkson. They come up lovely, Mr. Clarkson. Maybe if I could have a cup of tea once a week, that would be nice. Now, what kind of creature was actually the first to be sent into space?
A monkey.
Oh dear!
A squirrel monkey.
And what did you say?
He said dog,
I
sir.
think he did say dog, didn't you, John? John said dog.
I bet it was something that they didn't know had gone into
No, they
space.
sent it deliberately.
Fly.
Fly is correct. Do you know what kind of fly? What sort of flies they always...
Brian.
Fruit fly. You divide points between yourselves. Very good indeed.
Why did they do that?
Well, they're very light, so there was no payload. They sent them up in July 1946 on an American V2, along with some corn seeds. But fruit flies, why are they used so much in science?
Because they could talk and they'd tell you exactly what's going on. If you're a fly and it's weightless, what happens then? You suddenly sort of stop flapping and go, hang on. This is what I've always dreamed of. No effort. They just say like that. In space, when they go to do number 2, they do it in the wall. They dock into the wall.
Yeah, all right. All right,
Something to
thank
think
you,
about.
Davis. So, one of the things about fruit flies is... Thank you.
But there's no sound in space,
No.
so you can't hear your own parts.
So amused. That's what's so sweet. He is absolutely adoring it. No, 61% of all known human disease genes have a recognisable match in fruit flies. Fruit flies also go to sleep at night, rather sweetly.
If they get a cold then, they get the common cold.
But they will be one of them. And the other thing is, every 2 weeks you've got a new generation, so any experimentation you do, you can observe very fast what happens. Yeah. Scientists who work with fruit flies give them jokey names, and I want you to tell me why they're called what they're called. There's a breed, a gene strain, called the Canambabi fruit fly. Why is it called that?
You've got no penises.
Yes, they have no external genitalia, quite right. There's one called the Maggie. Why would that be called the Maggie?
Handbag.
Bit fascistic. Hates the unions, bit right-wing.
No, because it suffers from arrested development, like Maggie in...
The Simpsons.
Yes, someone in the audience got that before you. They must award themselves a point. So there's the Maggie one. There's the cheap date, which is sensitive to ethanol intoxication. Go figure. Anyway, what's quite interesting about the sperm of the fruit fly?
Smells of guava.
The thing is, Zara actually knows that.
Fruit fly spunk, what can we say about
They don't have it. They don't have any of it.
By God, they do.
Do they?
It is the most fecund sperm.
The parsnips taste nice in it.
It's size. I'm just going about size. It's the largest sperm of any living thing. If uncoiled, it's 20 times as long as its own body. It's 5.8 centimetres long. One sperm. I'm not talking about its seminal fluid.
Centimetres?
Yeah, 5.8 centimetres. A human sperm is 0.05 millimetres.
So you don't think tadpole, think Loch Ness Monster?
It really is. Absolutely
You could probably keep
gigantic.
one as a pet, couldn't you?
Yeah, well over 1,000 times longer than a human sperm. Oh, dear. Yes, because our sperm are the smallest cell in the human body. What's the largest?
The smallest cell in the body.
Yeah, it's the human sperm.
The largest, the brain.
No. After all, only half human beings have the sperm, which is the smallest, and funnily enough, the largest cell the other half have, which is the womb. The womb is not a cell. Even I, who, as you say, am not exactly an expert in these matters, do know that the womb is not a cell.
Not a cell.
Well, no, whereas the ovum, is the egg.
It is kind of a cell, like for 9 months.
Yeah, it's a good point. Very good. It's a prudent. Now, bearing in mind all that has gone before, boys and gentlemen, what's the connection between Nancy Kerrigan and Wrong-Way Corrigan? Yay.
She was the skater who had her legs smashed by Tonya Harding.
Absolutely right.
And he was another skater who had his legs smashed by another skater.
That's not right, but the link is, what was Tonya Harding doing? I mean, essentially, in a very violent and appalling way.
She was trying to eliminate her rival from the competition.
She was cheating.
Wrong Way Corrigan was a shamed porn star in the 70s.
He looks like Edward Fox there, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's a jockey, isn't he?
No, he was a famous cheat. He had a ticker tape parade in Manhattan where more than 1 million people turned up in the streets. He was inspired by a man called Lindbergh. He was determined to fly across the Atlantic, although Lindbergh had already done it. They told him he wasn't allowed to because his aeroplane wasn't up to snuff. It was a mess. It was an old crate. So what he said happened was he flew from New York to California, but he ended up in Dublin Airport. And he flew across the Atlantic, but claimed that he'd just gone the wrong way by mistake. And to his dying day, he claimed that it was just an error in that, you know, he'd lost one of his compasses. But he was known as Wrong Way Corrigan.
Did he ever look out of the window? Because, hey...
He couldn't see. It was night, it was foggy, he says.
It can't have been night for 3,000 miles.
He does look like Eddie Fox in The Day and the Jackal. But he said, it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Doesn't it?
Eddie Fox, the only man with a bicep in his face. Wallace, I'm going to have to abdicate.
I was in a play in Chichester years ago, 20-odd years ago. The first play I was ever in. And he was in another play, but I got to know the DSM, as they're called, the Deputy Stage Manager, very well. And she'd not met him, and he suddenly appeared and put a hand on either shoulder and leant into ear and said, if we do go to bed together, it'll be strictly on my terms. Hell of a pick-up line, isn't it?
Ed was one of these guys, he says that he just upstairs into space and suddenly says something. And he was sitting in a dressing room, possibly at Chichester again, actually, and he said, I'm so glad there are no homosexuals in this company. Everyone just looks at him. The other lot in the Antony and Cleopatra play are an absolute fleet of Berties.
Now, one last chance to even things up by awarding yourselves a few points in the mad sprint for the finishing line that we call general ignorance. Buzzers, in which year did the Second World War end?
1945.
No, what the pity. Who was the war between and against?
Germany and Britain.
Germany.
America
Now,
and
what
Japan.
happened? There was a peace accord of Paris in 1947, but where was Germany? There was no Germany, was there?
Well, there was.
There were two.
So it ended in 1990 when you unified Germany.
Is the right
Yeah.
answer when Germany became one country again, 3rd of September 1990. That is officially when the war ended against Germany, because Germany didn't exist until then again. I know it's weird, but it's technically
Bloody
true.
silly, and I lost 20 points for it.
Oh, dear.
I knew that was going to
All right, well, we'll make up for it this way, Alan. Name something, fingers on buzzers, invented by the Swiss.
The cuckoo clock.
Oh, dear! Oh, no. It was a German invention, I fear.
Chocolate.
Not chocolate itself, no. I'll give you a few. Well, Velcro. It's a good one. Well, milk chocolate, you see. I think you should give yourself some points, because milk chocolate they did invent.
I'm going to give myself...
What, they got some chocolate and put milk in it? That's not an invention.
But it was certainly impressive.
It's not even close to being
Cellophane,
an invention.
that was important.
Oh, wow.
No.
Just to keep the
Dr.
chocolate.
Jacques Brandenberger in 1908 invented cellophane. Rayon, the first of the proper man-made fibres, rayon, and the Swiss Army knife. What can you tell us about the Swiss Army knife?
You can use it to cut your toenails?
It's always got a name on it.
Equinox or something like that.
Oh, very close. Victorinox.
Victorinox.
Named after Victoria, the inventor's mother, and
Half a point.
inox, which is the international symbol for stainless steel. But that was only the German-speaking Swiss Army knife. A few years later, the French invented one.
With a little white flag on it.
Well, no. Very good. Well, oddly enough, they both have got the Swiss cross on it, but they're bitter rivals. One calls themselves the original and the other the genuine. And the Swiss Army meticulously buys 50% from one company and 50% buys from the other. There you are. The only difference is the original, or the very first one, has the shield stamp of its flag, and the other one just has the flag. The first cuckoo clock was designed and made by Franz Anton Ketterer in the village of Schönwald, near Triberg, in the Schwarzwald. Black Forest, in about 1738.
The Swiss have the highest motorcycle ownership in the world.
Do they?
And the highest gun ownership. 8 million guns in private hands for a population of 6 million. And I once had the pleasure of being stopped in a car in Switzerland, which I was told by the policeman was too loud. They measured it and said, it's too loud, you're not allowed to use this car anymore, and at no point mentioned the machine gun on my driver's seat. Loaded machine gun, no, that's not interesting. This exhaust, on the other hand, matey boy, you're on foot from here on in.
Well, that brings us to our last question. Now, the year is 1792. It was a notable year for a number of reasons. It was the year the guillotine was first used.
Which was last used in 1960. Point for that.
No, because it's not true. You're wrong.
It is true.
No, it isn't. We'll come to that, I'm afraid. 1977. The last French... Sorry. No, it was a one-legged French criminal who was guillotined in 1977. 1792 was the year the guillotine was first used and the year of birth of the inventor of the computer and the death of the man after whom the sandwich is named. What was invented...
Lord Sandwich.
Yes. Guess. Well, it wasn't going to be Nora Butty, was it?
Charles Babbage.
Charles Babbage, you're right, is the inventor of the computer, so you've all added to that.
Difference engine.
But, yes, the difference engine.
I know how many people were at his funeral.
Oh, go on.
3.
Really?
Yeah, only 3 people went to his funeral. None of his friends turned up because he was a laughingstock by the time he died, and he'd invented the computer.
Yeah, I know.
Which was only recently built
They rebuilt
in the
one, didn't they?
Science Museum, and it works.
In Vietnam, the guillotine was last used in 1960.
However, in France, in 1977... But
En France.
En France, exactly, en France.
Has anyone survived it?
Well, was it, remember Jim Dale in the film...
Survivor, you can go.
That's smart. That's smart.
Sablon, anything.
Guillotine be gone.
Your head just flopping over.
Do you remember Jim Dale in the Carry On film, Don't Lose Your Head? And he's just being guillotined. It's in the French Revolution, they say. There's a note for you from Robespierre. It says, leave it in the basket, I'll read it later on.
There's a horrible truth to that, because, of course, it was maintained by contemporary witnesses that a lot of the heads were quait sentient for some
they
time
twitched.
after decapitation, which is pretty...
You bastard! Yeah. If you're there long enough, you get some weirdo who'd want to marry them.
Well, the couteurs who start knitting.
Start writing to them, I love you. You marry me.
Our question is, what was invented at Cambridge University in 1792?
Was it girls?
Not... we had to wait about 100 years before girls arrived.
Was it homosexuality?
That had been going on at Cambridge, and still, I proudly claim to this day. What goes on at Cambridge?
Studying.
Studying, and at the end of studying is exams. How do you know when someone's done well in an exam?
You
The
mark
person
it.
who marks it.
Who marks it? And where did this idea of marking exams come from?
1792.
It was invented in Cambridge.
Absolutely right. It was a written exam was invented there in 1792.
Yeah, in Cambridge in 1792 by a professor of chemistry, Farish, his name was. Before that, you would speak in Latin. You'd be asked questions, you'd answer. But they were starting to be paid in piecework, and this Industrial Revolution was happening. They decided they'd process a lot more students, so they got them to write down what they knew, and then someone would mark them and give them an award according to how well they'd done.
I've learned one thing. It is quite interesting.
You see? In fact, if this show had been made before 1792, its scoring system would have been regarded as even more weird and innovative, wouldn't it? Which brings me to wonder what scores you have given yourselves. So, let's have a look. Let's start with you, Zander.
-7.
-7, right.
-29.
-29. John, what have you got?
+7.
+7 he's given himself.
I've got -85.5.
This is very interesting. Now, I did say if anyone was spot on the money, what did I say would happen?
They would have sex.
I think the wish is father of the thought there, young Alan, I know her. But, no. Someone around this table has got their score exactly right according to our scoring computer, and that person is Alexander Armstrong with -7.
Oh. Honest. Honest John.
Which means we've got another minus
So, your plus score takes you definitely into the lead. You're the winner with 93 points. In second place with 0 is Jeremy. Did a lot better than he thought. And in third place, because he did fall into a few of our traps, with -10 is John Sessions. But only 33 out. In last place with -52, Alan Davis. Well, there we go. That's just about it from QI. My thanks to fellow invigilators Jeremy, Zander, John and Alan. Till next week, I leave you with this quite interesting question. What do lawyers and sperm have in common? 1 in 50 million has a chance of becoming a human being. Good night.